to show you.
Hell yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first Discourse on Sunday night. We are live here on Facebook and on YouTube, and we're going to be live every single Sunday except for holidays. You know, like Father's Day coming up in 2 weeks, but that's okay. We'll come back the following week, and we'll talk about The Howling or something like that, something that makes Seth's nipples perk up. But tonight, we want you to clear your throats, because you know that has to happen in order to properly speak English. We're talking about a movie called The Neon Demon, and I'll let somebody else say the director's name because I already forgot it. But because I don't know anything, you please subscribe, of course. But we're going to get straight to everybody into the show because I'm kind of out of my element. I will say this came out in 2016. I saw it. Jared was absolutely pumped. You can check out his review from 2016 on thehorrorsyndicate.com. And he liked it. He liked it a lot. And I mean, he was putting up article after article. The Neon Demon is coming, like a countdown. I'm like, do you think anybody cares, Jared? And he's like, yes, I do. I'm like, get out of here. So I'll bring Jared in first. Jared, how are you?
Not bad. How are you doing, buddy?
I am glowing, Jared. I am just glowing. I just got through self-pleasuring myself. No. I don't know. I'm weird today for some reason.
Keep that under covers.
Why? Everybody does it. Anyway, I'm good. How are you doing? I think you're good. I think we're finally getting around to a movie that you really liked back in the day. I don't know that we ever talked about it in any of our other shows. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, we've mentioned it sparingly, but I mean, it's been 7 years since that movie came out.
Yeah, and you really like the director. What's his name?
Nicholas Winding Refn.
There, okay. Nicholas Winding Refn. I could, for some reason, can never remember his name. He sounds like the guy who shot John Lennon. Mark David Chapman, is that who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, you know, the middle name guys. John Wilkes Booth. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with me, but tell me, did you get a chance to watch it again?
I did. I watched it this morning.
Your opinion holding up, or is it varied over the course of the past 7 years?
I actually noticed some things that I don't remember the first time I watched it. I've seen it like 3 times, probably overall, and it still holds up to me. It's probably my 3rd favorite film of his. I mean, every film that he does is really good, but most of them aren't horror.
Like Nate mentioned, Drive.
Yeah.
What are your 2 favorites other than this one?
Bronson.
Yep. And
It
then
has,
Drive is the other one.
Yeah, definitely Drive for sure. That is a must watch from Refn for sure. He's got a couple other ones that a lot of people don't know about, but another one has. What's his butt? I'm totally brain farting right now. He plays Ken in Barbie. Ryan Gosling. Okay, sorry. He was in another one of Refn's films, Only God Forgives. That was an amazing film as well. Like, he has a very, very broad spectrum of films. A lot of good crime films. The Pusher trilogy is amazing.
I need to, according to Nate, I need to see Drive, which I bought for like $7, and then I never got around to watching it. It's on Tubi. Nate, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, so you're a fan of this director.
Yeah.
Drive, right?
Well, no, I saw Bronson first. That was my introduction to him and Tom Hardy. I was like,
oh, really?
Tom Hardy was fucking incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd seen him in other things. I just didn't recognize. Like, I'd seen him in like Guy Ritchie movies, and I think he was in. What is it? Wasn't he in The Layer Cake?
I know he was in Rock and Rolla.
Yeah, Rock and Rolla and all that. I'd seen him in little things, but Bronson was like, who the hell is this dude? I mean, it was like, to me, like Daniel Day-Lewis level performance. And Nicholas Winding Refn's style reminded me of Kubrick a lot. And I was like, oh, this filmmaker's got a voice. And then I think Jared just mentioned the Pusher trilogy, which that's where like Mads Mikkelsen, where I first saw him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of the second one, especially because it's pretty much Mads movie. And then he did another one with Mads, Valhalla Rising, the Viking movie.
Yes.
But yeah, Drive was the one that when I saw it. Bronson was first, but Drive was the one that Drive's one of my top 20 films of all time, and then Only God Forgives. I liked it. It's a little different. He started really embracing, like, he's a big fan of like Gaspar Noé and guys like that. So like Jodorowsky and all that. So his films are very artsy, minimalist. He as anyone who's seen Neon Demon knows what his style is. So I think this was like what he did after Only God Forgives.
Yeah, this is the last thing he's done too.
Last film. He did a TV show. Yeah.
There's a TV show he did on Amazon called Too Old to Die Young. And then he has another one on Netflix that just came out, actually, called Copenhagen Cowboy.
Okay. Wasn't he remaking like Maniac Cop?
I heard that he was labeled to do that, but I haven't heard anything about it since, like, other than the announcement.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And,
that'd be an odd choice based on the one movie I've seen for that.
He's kind of an unpredictable filmmaker.
Is he?
He gets really like with Drive. Like he didn't want to make Drive. Ryan Gosling wanted him, and he doesn't drive a car. He doesn't know anything about cars. He doesn't drive. He's from Denmark, and he was driving in the car with Ryan in L.A. and Ariel Speedwagon comes on the radio and he goes, "I see the movie. It's a guy driving around at night in L.A. listening to pop music," and that's what inspired him. And with this movie, he was talking to Christina Hendricks, who's in this and was in Drive, and she said, "So what are you doing?" He goes, "I want to make this movie." He goes, well, "What is it?" He goes, "I don't know yet, but it's going to have a lot of blood and high heels." Yeah. So he's kind of one of those guys that just kind of finds his way. As like they shot this film in chronological order, and so because of that, things would change where it would change how the movie goes from there on, or he would take suggestions from anybody, from crew, whatever, because he likes to not be tied down to anything final and let things happen organically, artistically as he's moving along through the movie.
Sounds like madness.
Yeah. But also, like Elle said, it was just great. She liked the spontaneity of it, which a lot of actors enjoy. They don't like everything being. Film is usually very structured and very precise and all that. But whereas theater, you're open to be spontaneous. You can do different things every night, as long as you say the right words. Somebody will do something differently. They'll inflect differently or whatever. So. A lot of actors like spontaneity, and I guess Refn does as well.
Okay, let's bring Seth in. He's going to give us a little bit of a synopsis, so let's bring him in.
An asshole.
Take it away, Seth.
First off, I want to say I do like Drive. I think Drive is a good movie.
Okay.
So with the Neon Demon, it's about a young woman who goes to LA to be a model and oh, credits. Okay, that's it. That's my synopsis.
That's fucking bang on right there. Not really.
I'll be honest with this one. I watched it when it came out on Blu-ray. Blind bought it because Jared just, Jared's endorsement was gold up until this movie for me, and I don't know if I didn't understand it or what the deal was. I watched it. This was back when Elizabeth was still alive, and we watched it. And we're like, she's like, when is this fucking movie gonna end? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what the hell's even going on at this point. you know. And then all of a sudden, what's her name was walking around with no shirt on, and it's like, oh, good, oh, those aren't boobs. And then I was like, sorry, that joke didn't land. I don't know. Like, then I watched it this year, thinking like it's time for me to try to, you know, rewatch this movie and form a better opinion of it, because I'd never wanted to watch it again after that.
We're kind of representing Cannes Film Festival because his last two films were 50-50. It got booed and cheered equally.
Oh, really?
Yes. Complete split in the middle. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, there are things I get. Like, first of all, and we'll get into it a little bit, but the cinematography in this movie is out of control good. It's really, really damn good. I did like the sound design. Yeah, the sound design and the music was really great, but the subject matter itself, I just didn't really care for. I didn't understand the whole idea with the Panther and Keanu Reeves' creepy ass character, and then I don't think I understood the ending very well. It was one of these. This movie is a complete miss for me. And Seth, I whenever we said we were going to do this, I was like, I want to do this for Jared, because I know Jared loves this movie and loves the director, and then Nate, of course, you love the director as well. But I wasn't sure if you had actually seen this one or not at the time.
I saw this in theaters.
No, did you? You would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I've seen I've seen everything since. I didn't get to see Drive, which pisses me off because it wasn't playing a lot of places, and I was at a convention in Nashville, and it was playing there, and I was going to go see it Friday night after the show. But after driving all the way to Nashville and setting up and working the show, I was exhausted. I just wanted to get to the hotel, and I'm still kicking myself because I never got another chance to see Drive.
Maybe it'll come back out.
I'm hoping that someone plays it again because I want to see that in the theater.
Maybe like the Alamo Drafthouse around here likes to show old movies once in a while. Maybe that'll happen for it. Do you have one by you?
I mean, we've got a place that shows stuff, but nothing like Alamo Drafthouse, or Quentin's place. But maybe I'll hope. I mean, it's still kind of soon for movies like that because it's only
12 years old. Came out in 11,
about 12
right?
years old. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to watch Drive. I bought it on DVD based on your recommendations. And I put it on my DVD shelf where things go to die at this point because I've converted to Blu-ray for almost everything. But I think Drive was like $4 or something like that on Amazon. So I was like, I may as well get it. And now I bought it on
Blu-ray based on recommendation.
And you liked it, right?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Now, have you seen any of his other films, like Bronson, or what are the other ones?
I know of Bronson, but I haven't seen it.
I think you'd like Bronson. It's based on a true story about England's most famous. Yeah, Charles Bronson, the guy I think. Charles Bronson. It's he calls it. Yeah, his name's Charles Bronson, and he's the most notorious criminal in British history.
Oh, really?
He was like, just watch the trailer and you'll know what you're in store for because it's. I like one critic called it a Clockwork Orange for the 21st century. I was like, I could see that.
That's bold.
But this guy was a real dude, and he's like really, really. And Tom Hardy just embodies the character.
Is he a wrestler by chance?
That's why he got real big. He was a bare fist fighter, wasn't he?
Definitely got into a lot of fights in prison, that's for sure.
I don't know. The poster I always saw was of him, like bare chested or something like that. And I think it may have come out around the same time as the wrestler. And I think I confused the two.
Actually, I think I mixed up with a bare fist fight. I think that was where Hardy got his voice for Bane from. It was like some real British.
No, I think you're right because he's got some wraps around his fist, so I bet he does do that.
Yeah, I mean he's beating up guards and shit. It's really a quirky character and a real dude, Hulu. Real person.
It's available on Hulu to watch if anybody ever wants to watch that. So the Neon Demon. So Seth didn't really give us a good idea of what this movie is. Jared, if you could, since this was the one that I swear if you type in Neon Demon on the Horror Syndicate, there's like 5 posts on there from you. So
Yeah. Well, as he stated, Elle Fanning is a young, wide-eyed girl who wants to come to California of dreams of being a model. But what she doesn't realize that there is a den of wolves out there in this business, and she's a sheep. She's a young one, so she has to figure out and find her own way. But as the movie progresses, you find out that maybe she's not the most naive after all, and that's when she turns probably about the hour-long mile mark where Seth was losing his shit, but it was the runway scene, which we'll get to soon, that kind of changes the way she is. But yeah.
yeah. And there's these other models, and it's like they're getting close to aging out or something like that. It seems like, at least that's what I think I got from it. They were jealous. They weren't jealous of her, but they were jealous. Does that make sense? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Because I think a couple of them were aging out. Because what's her name? I can't remember her name. She's been in a lot of stuff. She was a child actress. The one that
Jenna Malone.
Jenna Malone. Thank you. Yeah, she was Donnie Darko. Yeah, because she's
a makeup artist.
She's a makeup artist, and she's friends with those two other girls. Yeah, so I feel like there was that, because it seemed like everybody who ended up working with her was very taken aback by Elle Fanning's character, which I don't remember her name either.
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse. Gonna get that kid a goddamn methadone clinic. Jesse. Like, I just seemed like there's a lot that I got out of it before you get to the end, where there's some really weird shit that happens towards the end. But Jared, before we get any further, because I want to get into Nate's scene, do you have? Let's do your thing. Yes. All right.
So as Nate had said just a little bit ago, the film was pretty much shot completely in chronological order. One of the tidbits I liked about that is throughout production, instead of yelling action, Winning Refn would literally yell, "Violence, motherfuckers."
Really?
Just to keep them on their toes.
And the violence is minimal in this movie.
It really is. I mean, a lot of it's suggestive for those that haven't seen it. I mean, it's not all in your face.
Yeah.
And I think the violence, it's a different type of violence on this screen, where it's how people look at her.
Oh.
Really? I mean, we'll get into all that, but yeah.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, like, when you find out Jesse's character is only 16 years old, Elle Fanning is legitimately 16 years old filming this movie.
Yeah.
So, like, behind the scenes, Refn and the crew, like, the scene in the middle, probably the second act, where she actually finds herself with the really good photographer, and he asks
Joey Quinn. Is Joey Quinn?
Oh,
Isn't that Joey Quinn?
The first one, where he like paints her gold and asks her to strip naked. Like, that entire scene behind the set, like behind the scenes before they even filmed anything, like, they had her wear like 2 pairs of panties. They had her wear 2 pairs of bras. Like, they were like totally like, she's 16 years old. We cannot like put ourselves out like this. So I fucking will give Refn ultimate kudos for doing that, because we've all got daughters, right? I mean, seriously, all got daughters. Another thing that kind of got me, where'd it go? We all know about the use of color, very Argento, or like one of our other guys used to say Argentento.
Argento, yep. Rest in peace, Baron Craze.
Right. But the one that got me, and this will be the last one because we can keep moving along, the infamous morgue scene. So, when that scene was supposed to take place, Jenna Malone was just supposed to give the corpse a kiss. She totally ad-libbed that entire scene and totally took it to 1,000, like on her own. And the corpse, that was a real person. That was not like a body, plastic body.
That corpse is one of the best acting jobs of all time.
Yeah. And there's another thing about that. They actually had to CGI a little bit just to make it seem like she wasn't breathing. So they actually had to like do some really quick cuts to make it look like she wasn't breathing, but that was a real person.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, the whole breathing and the dead thing, that opening shot of Elle Fanning laying there on the couch, her eyes are open, she doesn't blink, she doesn't breathe. She's really holding her breath, and she held her eyes open so long that her contacts burned to her eyes from the lights, from the hot lights of there.
Yeah, I heard that too. God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, really, this is Nate. You sent me a couple of images. You want to go over those before you get into
Yeah, if
your
you want
actual
to show the other stuff, I'll just touch on those before you do the scene.
Is there a certain one you want to do first?
You can just throw whatever you want up randomly, because there were things I just wanted to. I don't know. I grabbed some.
There you go, gentlemen.
The reason I wanted this one, we're talking about the cinematographer, Natasha. With this shot, I don't know if it reads here, but she started really playing around with stuff on this. And this isn't new. This is not new stuff, but it's a technique that the cinematographer will do. Through the windows, she was getting a lot of information. Like you could see the traffic and all that. So she didn't want that distracted. She wanted it to be more dreamlike. And so if you look at the window, you can see it's a little blurry.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you take Vaseline and you rub it on the lens.
It's just like when you want to hide some wheels under a land speeder.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this technique goes way, way, way back, but she started doing it. But one of the fun ones I heard was, I don't think it's on this one, but I guess she didn't have any Vaseline around. She took, like, her hair was kind of dirty that day, so she took the oil from her hair and wiped it.
Oh, man.
Her forehead or something was greasy, something like that.
Yeah. But one of the first, like, I sent you those Marilyn Monroe pictures.
Yeah, these.
Which were taken by cinematographer Jack Cardiff, who's one of the greatest film cinematographers ever. He shot The Red Shoes and Black Narcissus. I think Black Narcissus won like the Oscar for cinematography. But he also, during his downtime, when he was working on films, he would take photographs of the actresses, because he was working with like Audrey Hepburn and Sophia Loren and Marilyn Monroe, who we see here. And he's doing that. The way you're getting that blur is he's putting Vaseline on the lens or on the filter to give you that effect. It's kind of a dream thing, and this movie kind of fits that, because this movie is very fantasy. Her fantasy, La La Land, surreal stuff. So, and Nicholas encouraged her to do whatever she wanted. She said normally a lot of filmmakers are scared to let her do things. They like what she does, but they'll often say, all right, let's shoot one that way and shoot one safe. But she said Nicholas wasn't that way. He let me do whatever I wanted to just play. And so that was one of the things she did, was she started fucking with and Jack, Jack would do, like, he would take a filter and paint, red on it or halfway on it or all that, just to give different effects that he wanted. So there's all kinds of things you could do with, you get like a blank filter and you could literally paint the filter or rub stuff on it just to give you different effects. So that's why I threw that Jenna Malone picture up, because of the Vaseline.
Okay, what about this one?
Yeah, this one, the two of him, one of the things I love about Drive was how he photographed LA at night. And he does a lot of that in this movie, and he loves shooting in LA. You get those sunsets, you get the neon, those palm trees. It's just gorgeous. So I took those pictures because I just love those images. And like every place in LA looks like that back there. Those little strip mall, like that's like, in Drive. Ron Perlman's character owns a pizzeria. I went to that pizzeria when I was in LA, and it looks like it's like a building like that, like the signage, the way it's all. And you got the mountains, Hollywood Hills, and all that. So LA, he really like. There's a lot of Michael Mann influence. Michael Mann kind of filmed LA that way, like in Manhunter and shit like that. Miami Vice kind of has that look.
Yeah.
But I just love the sun setting and the neon and all that.
These are both really good examples of the cinematography we were talking about.
Yeah.
It is kind of unique to especially a horror type film. We get to see some cinematography like this.
Yeah, and it's a low budget movie. I think the budget was like $5 million. So a lot of stuff's minimal and creative because they didn't have a lot of money. And like even like would get crew members to do things like the bondage scene where the girls in the bondage. Yeah. It's just like one of the costume girls because they couldn't afford to hire a model or a dancer or somebody to do it. So it's very grassroots. Filmmaking.
And then the last one you sent me was her in a.
Yeah, I just liked that shot. That was a spontaneity thing. It wasn't supposed to be that. I think she was supposed to be digging the grave, and Nicholas called her up and said, "I want to see you just like laying in an open grave, like just kind of chilling." And they found that spot. And they dug the little grave and had her lay in it, and it's just really. It's one of those examples of the spontaneity and you wake up one day, you get an idea and you're like, oh, that would be great. And it's just one of those really quirky choices, with the flowers. I mean, it's a pretty picture, but it's also pretty morbid. She's topless. I don't know if she's reading a magazine or I can't tell what she's doing.
I think she's playing with a flower, isn't she?
Is she?
I think so. I can't remember offhand, but I think I do remember this scene.
Yeah, it was just a really. This is right after she's like washed the blood out of the pool after they basically killed her and ate her and digging her grave.
Yeah, an interesting. The whole final act is very interesting from the point where she kind of gives herself to Elle Fanning's character and then gets rejected. It gets super weird after that.
When Elle rejects her, that's when Elle becomes the monster in the movie, and Jenna Malone's character becomes the protagonist of the movie because she becomes the victim. Like that whole morgue scene is fucked up, but it's also very, very sad because that's the only way she could touch that. Like I was talking to my wife earlier about that character. I was like, this is a woman who, I think Jenna Malone's pretty, but she's never been like Hollywood glamorous, like leading lady.
I don't know. I think I disagree with that. Actually, I think she's gorgeous.
Well, I do too. Well, but I'm saying like she's not a model.
You mean like a Marilyn Monroe type?
Yeah, she's but her despite her casting, because casting, there's other things I want to get in on that.
Sure.
But her character is a woman who is older. She's not a model. She's paid to make other beautiful women look as beautiful as they can.
Right.
So there's something kind of sad about that because in some way she definitely desires them.
Yeah, outside looking in kind of thing.
Yeah, but she can't ever really touch them or be with them. And I think when she makes those advances, it's an interesting character because she starts off trying to protect her, telling her, hey, I don't think you should be with him alone. And blah, blah. But really, she's just as dangerous. Well, she's more dangerous than they are.
She's kind of the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. And
but the tables get turned on her in that rejection scene.
Yeah.
And it shows how not pathetic, but almost pathetic she is.
And color comes in, which plays into my scene, and I'll touch on it when I do the scene. If you want to go ahead and jump into that.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, we can.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and get that out of the way.
I got to do the intro.
Okay.
I got to. I love them. Go ahead.
That's me. It's not the scene.
I know I'm making you the main thing.
Well, let's start off with a picture, I guess, first one. Okay, so this is the runway scene. And as Jared mentioned earlier, that's when everything changes. The neon demon in the movie, where the title comes from, is that triangle, that neon triangle.
Mhm.
And the theme of this film is the Greek mythology Narcissus, where the word narcissist comes from.
Right.
Narcissus was a hunter who was beautiful, like the most beautiful man or person or ever, and he was advanced on by everyone, but he always rejected everyone. Like he never let anyone in. Like everybody wanted him because he was so beautiful, and everyone's drawn to him, but he rejected everyone. And then one day he comes across a pool of water, and he sees his own reflection, and he falls in love with himself. And he never leaves. He looks at himself till he dies. That triangle is that pool of water that she looks into in this scene, and that's translated by the colors. So here she's bathed in blue. Blue is the cool color. It's the colors represent something here. Nicholas Winding yeah, exactly. Nicholas is colorblind, so his colors are extreme because he can only see in contrasts. So he likes a lot of blue and red because they look contrast, in gray.
But blue also represents hope, so that's kind of an interesting.
Blue represents a whole lot of stuff, but they really started to focus on red representing danger.
Mm-hmm.
So
fear, anger.
Rage. So here in this beginning, she's in blue. She's walking through. There's a triangle. This is her runway thing. So I got a lot of pictures here. They don't really all mean anything, but really what happens is it gets to the scene where she sees the triangle. She's going towards the triangle, and then there's one shot where she's looking into the triangle. Like looking into the pond or the reflection. There's a lot of mirror stuff in this movie too. A lot of mirrors.
Oh yeah.
Reflection. But there's one shot where she's looking into the mirror or the triangle, which is the neon demon. She's getting closer and closer. She's mesmerized by it. And then when she finally sees it, here she is looking at it. After she looks into it, it turns red. And that's the birth of the neon demon, her as a monster. And once it's red, there she is looking into the metaphorical pond of water, mirror image, falling in love with herself, basically. And she kisses herself. She kisses both sides of the mirror.
As if
she's the demon now. She's the neon demon.
Well, look at her face, the face that she's got going on here.
Totally confident.
Yeah, versus like here, or even the first, like right there, you can start to see the change when she sees herself.
Yeah.
But like, look at her eyes, look at her mouth, versus this, and to this.
And
she looks much more devious here than the babe in the woods, what she was here. Look at her eyes. Look at the darkness around her eyes, how it changes so much because of the red, the tint. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and this again is just a good representation of color and the use of color and how you use it to tell story. She, going back to Jenna Malone, all the way up until that scene where she advances on her and is rejected, Jenna Malone, they always put red in the scene, so she's either wearing like a red skirt or she's got some kind of clothing. Yeah, Jessie. Ruby. Her name's Ruby.
And her name's fucking Red. Yes.
Yeah, the makeup girl is Ruby, and she's always got red. And then it's after she's rejected that she's bathed in blue. So when you go back to that necrophilia scene, it's all in blue.
Yeah.
But it cuts back and forth to Elle on a red couch with a red robe on, masturbating. So now she's in red, and Jenna Malone is in blue.
because she's thinking about Jesse as she's doing it.
Yeah, and the corpse looks a lot like Elle Fanning, just same blonde, curly, wavy hair. But this is just a representation. I mean, this is a very creative way to. I mean, this is a runway. You never seen a runway scene in a movie like this because it's all about her transformation, and he does it all through color and then the action of her kissing herself. And it's after this that she becomes extremely, vain. She really realizes she's been told by everybody she's perfect, and she like Christina Hendricks tells her she's perfect. The way the guy, the designer, looks at her and says, she's true beauty. She's not manufactured like the Gigi or Sarah. Mentioned that they've aged out. They're older. She's 16 years old, and not just beauty, but youth is important. And the way and then also virginity. Jessie is a virgin, and she's so protected. She knows how much power she has because of that she doesn't even let Dean kiss her when he drops her off. And she pushes Jenna away when she's advancing on her. To maintain her youth and her beauty and her innocence is what's drawing people to her. And she knows that. She knows that's her power. But she's totally, after this sequence, you start to see her wearing more glamorous clothing, wearing more makeup, and the way she carries herself. And it's at this scene, I think they're at Musso and Frank's, and Dean's there, and he's like, let's go. And she goes, go. She dumps him basically.
If you want to leave, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to leave, go home. And then he does, and she goes home, and she takes his flowers and throws them in the garbage. And, he's done. It's history. Because she's beyond him now. Before she was an amateur with an amateur. And
she's moving on up.
Now she's with the elite. And she is the one that they're all staring at and jealous of and envious of and wanting.
So... yeah, so there's a clear transformation in that scene, and you see it, of course, afterwards. So let's go towards the end of the movie, and there's other things we can get back to, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, you should ask what Seth thinks before you go watch it.
Well, Refn's one of those filmmakers. I don't know if Jared's the same way, but when someone asks me my opinion or what they should, I always say, look, I can't tell you if you're going to like it or not. It's going to be, you're either going to like it or not. It's just kind of how his films are.
When it comes with him, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going up to everyone going, oh, you got to go see Only God Forgives. You're going to love it. They're possibly going to hate that movie.
Yeah.
Because he just wants, what happened was when he did Drive, Drive is based on a book, and the original script was written to be kind of like a Fast and the Furious movie with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was supposed to play Driver originally. And Ryan did it. And as they were making it, actually it was Ryan Gosling who said, can we just cut some of this dialogue? We don't need all this dialogue. And Nichols said, sure. So there's scenes in the movie where it's just him, and when Ryan and Carey Mulligan's character fall in love with each other, there's no word. But they let it all be in the way they look at each other, and the music and the silence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of Carey Mulligan, she was supposed to play Jessie originally, and she got too busy.
No shit.
And they recast her. Yeah. What's interesting about that is Carey Mulligan would have been 30 when they made it.
I was just getting ready to look to see how old she would have been. Yeah.
She wouldn't have had that 16-year-old part about it. And also it would have had more, like Jared said about the scene where she's getting the gold put on her. There was supposed to be nudity there, but because Elle was cast, all of the sexuality and the nudity and things that he was planning on doing had to be suggested because of her age. So it actually made him more creative and probably made a better film. Otherwise, it would have been who knows if it may have got Next or NC-17 or something.
Possibly, yeah.
I love Carey Mulligan, but I'm kind of glad because I think her being underage really captures the as that girl says when she's getting made up at the end, once you're 20, you're out. You're kind of old news, and it is really about youth and the exploitation of youth. I mean, they want it so bad that Christina Hendricks' character is willing to tell her to lie about her age. No, you're 19, no matter what anyone says. Like, she knows she's underage. She's still gonna capitalize off this young girl. And then even Keanu Reeves' character is like, yeah, I got this little Lolita 12-year-old girl in room, 214. Must be seen. And so I think they lucked out by getting Elle, and that Carrie was too busy. Carrie would have been great because I've always loved her and everything she's done, but I think her being a teenager added more to the sleaziness and the immoral values of the fashion industry and just people in general when it comes to beauty and virginity. There's something about virginity. I was thinking about that. Thinking about the Muslim thing where like they're promised 72 virgins in heaven. Like that's really like what heaven is having 72 pure girls. Like
that's weird.
Yeah, that's their. Yeah, it's.
What heaven do you? 72 virgins. Oh yes.
And then like they used to sacrifice virgins, and there's all these things. Like there's something about
pure blood and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's and these people are predators. They're preying on purity and wanting to get a part of that. And that's part of the Elizabeth Bathory thing about this movie. They actually, like, Jenna bathes in her blood and they eat her and to get her essence.
So that's what I wanted to ask you guys. And Jared, if you could shed some light on that for me. What exactly, did they eat her? Because one girl coughs up an eyeball.
Yes. And I do believe there was some witchery involved because there was a full moon involved, and Jenna Malone had some kind of minstrel adventure during a full moon. There's a lot to interpret in this movie that even Refn will not explain. He leaves it literally for our interpretation. He will not talk about this kind of stuff. But I think there's some kind of weird witchy stuff going on.
Well, thank God he did
that. But I mean, yes, they ate her and bathed in her blood and then took a shower, a sensual shower, to wash it off.
Yeah, homage to Carrie.
Best part of the movie.
Yeah. But that's the part, I mean, I get Seth. I get why you probably don't like it. It's fucking slow as shit. I get it.
I mean, to be fair, you are waiting for something
to be
happen.
fair. Sorry, I can't.
Well, it's like you said the judging thing, and it said kills. I'm like, how do I judge kills? Like this,
right? I know.
It's not one of those movies. Like not every horror movie has kills in them. So I don't. So
that was for our slasher stuff. That's the only one I had on hand.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, there is a kill.
I get why this is one of those stand on the fence kind of movies because, yes, is it beautiful? Yes, does it conjure Argento? Yes, does it have amazing scenery and stuff? And I keep thinking about the fucking Panther, and I was going to jump back about that.
Well, yeah, because we need to. I need to know about that.
She is always the prey. The cat. Like, I had a conversation with my fiance about this, and she's like, I don't think she's the prey. No, she's the prey until she's not. But at that point, she was the prey. So that significance or that symbolism, that cat is there's always something coming to get her.
Always somebody prey, because even Keanu Reeves' character was kind of a predator towards her.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, there's like something that Keanu Reeves says to her. He yells at her, right? He says, you left the fucking door open, like the balcony door open.
How the fuck is it going to jump 2 stories?
And that's a metaphor of she is opening the door to predators. She is opening the door to all these people who are going to.
I could see that.
And there's a scene where, like, right before she leaves the hotel, she lays down on the bed with leather pants on, and it's like, and she said she was imitating a cat. He goes, "See, it's full circle. The cat and the cat on the bed. Now she's the mountain lion on the bed." Because at that point, that's when she starts to become a predator, and she's a predator in a different way. Like she takes stabs at these girls. She knows how they envy her. There's that one great scene where she's in the makeup room, and the girl says, she's talking about all the surgery she's had done, and Elle says, "Why?" And she says, "Well, no one loves the way they look." And she goes, "I do."
Yeah.
And that like hurts that girl real bad. And then there's actually, I think my favorite scene in the movie is after the audition, and I want to talk about auditions because I have a whole thing on that. But the girl Sarah goes in the bathroom and breaks the mirror, and she's laying there. She's tore up her headshots and all that stuff. And Elle comes in, and she's talking about, "Oh, I thought you did a good job." And she's smoking a cigarette. She kind of tilts her head at her and says, "Don't do that. Don't play false modesty." She didn't say that, but that's basically what she's saying. Like,
right.
You know how fucking people look at you.
Don't blow smoke up my ass.
Yeah, don't blow smoke up my ass. She's smoking.
Right.
Don't blow smoke up my ass. And she says, "What's it like?" And like, what? Like, what's it like being in winter and being the sun? And she says, "It's everything." So, like, I just like that scene. I think it's like she says, "Don't blow smoke up my ass. You know how people look at you. You know how much power you have, and you know that I just ate shit out there. And don't come in here and say, 'Oh, you did a good job.'" She's like, "Don't bullshit me." It's a good scene, and the girl that plays that part is a huge supermodel, Abby Lee.
Yes.
Massive, and she's actually worked as a consultant on the movie, telling him what was accurate and what was real. So they had a person who knew that world telling them, to the point where she would like say, "That model's not right, take her out," what they would have on their table when they went into audition. She was a consultant, and I really love, she was my favorite of the girls in Mad Max Fury Road. She was like the witchy one, the kind of the albino girl. So I really like her in this, and I liked her in Mad Max Fury Road a lot.
Dynamite dropping, Monty.
That's right. She was in Mad Max, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Her eyes. Oh, she's got those eyes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say that because Seth said, "Yeah, dynamite dropping, Monty." That broadcast school is really paying off. Anybody know what that's from?
Broadcast school?
From a movie called Major League 2.
I've seen that in a long time.
Bob Uecker says it.
Bob Uecker. He says a lot.
Well, the announcer guy that was with him.
Just about.
He never said the damn word, and then he says, "I heard that," and Bob Uecker says, "Dynamite drop in, Monty." Anyway.
When I think of Major League 2, like, this is totally off base. Oh, you have no marbles.
Yeah. So what we got? What else is there you guys want to discuss about this movie? Because this is you and Jared's show.
I got a list, but I'm opening it to Jared because I've been talking.
Well, you and Jared go over the list. Your list.
Oh, or do you have anything off that you want to touch on, or do you want me to go list?
I mean, really, we pretty much covered up the first two acts for the most part, other than Elle Fanning's ill-fated relationship with her photographer, but that's, really not much of a big deal. But
here's something I would imagine Seth liked, hopefully. What do you think of that score?
The score was good. I ranked it pretty high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cliff Martinez, who did
Drive
and
Cindy.
He did Drive and Only God Forgives in this one. He was the drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers back in the 80s.
I was going to say the name's familiar.
Yeah. I love the score. I think it's perfect. I think it's a great, great score. And
very synthy.
And then even like some of the songs, like the Sia song for the closing credits.
I love that.
It's really great.
Was it Chandelier?
No, it was.
No, I'm joking. I know.
What was it called?
It's called Waving Goodbye.
Yeah.
I actually fucking love that song.
Yeah, it's great.
Say goodbye.
I touched on the audition scene, and it made me think because I've been in that situation where I've auditioned people, and it's thank God I'm not that much of an asshole. Like, but I know it's that way. I know, because they have to see thousands of people. If I saw thousands of people, I'd probably be Simon Cowell too after a while. But the audition thing is it just sucks because you're being judged, especially these girls being judged by their looks, how they look, and that's a very it's just a real shitty thing. And I'm losing my train of thought here on auditions. But we had a conversation about, again, going back to beauty, and all of us like to think that we're not superficial, right? Oh, it's beauty's only skin deep. It's not all on the outside. It's what's in the inside, which is true. Like we don't really fall in love with just someone's looks. We fall in love with the person, but looks are the first thing. Usually, there's got to be some kind of physical attraction, which the guy mentions. I love that scene in Musso and Frank's where the dean stands up for her and says, "I think you're wrong," and he goes, "You wouldn't even have turned your head if she wasn't beautiful." And he's like, "Oh, you got me."
He didn't have jack shit to say about that.
No,
I like that line too. I thought that was a good moment.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, and this came up in when I took my directing class in theater, my theater directing class. We did auditions. We had 4 girls come in, audition for Our Town. It was fake. It was a mock audition, but they were 4 high school girls. And, we got onto the subject of who was good and all that, but also looks wise. Who would you cast? Who looks right? And, the question came is like, does attractiveness come into play when you're casting a movie or a play or something? And you'd like to say no, but at the same time, like Juliet should probably be beautiful, right? You're probably going to cast beauty. So that comes into play. Like you can't cast the best actress if she's not attractive, and you could, but the thing is, you may be that way, but your audience is going to be expecting beautiful, and that's the thing. Like the audience, and I talked to my wife about it. I was like, how many times have we sat here and watched the movie where you're going, well, she's better looking than her. Why is he with her? And I think all of us have probably had that conversation. And while we're watching the movie, where the script said this girl's the most beautiful one, but like the actress is like, oh, the one who's rejected is actually the most beautiful girl in the movie, and this girl's not that pretty. So beauty does dictate how we choose or what we're drawn to. And you go to like Heathers and Mean Girls and all that, they're all drawn to the pretty girls and who's prettiest and who's in the group. But that was an interesting question on our class, was when you go about auditioning and casting, how important is attractiveness and beauty? And in some ways, like this movie says, it's kind of everything in some ways. If you're going to cast your movie, people go to the movies to see beautiful people. Plain and simple. There were a lot of movie stars. We shared pictures of Marilyn Monroe earlier. Marilyn Monroe was not the greatest actress of her time, not even close.
No, she wasn't.
She's the icon. She's beautiful. She was different. There was something about her, but she was not the best actress, or probably even in the top 10 actresses at that time. But she's the one who's probably the most iconic and remembered for that time. And her beauty had a lot to do with that. And there was a lot of beautiful people who were made movie stars who weren't the best actors. So that plays into this movie and the themes of this movie of how powerful Jessie is because of her youth, her innocence, and her natural good looks.
Do you think that people would have reacted differently? The ones, the Sarah and whatever the other one, Gigi, is that what it was?
Yeah.
If they would have known how much younger she actually was to them, because she's still very. I mean, 16 is still a kid in my book, and even though when I was 16, I was looking for 16-year-olds to bang. I'll be honest. But when I was 16, I was looking for 16. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear. Not that I'm 43 looking for that. Anyway, but I'm just saying.
There's so much pressure on women to be youthful and beautiful. They spend so much money and so much time, and a lot of it's usually because of other women and other women's opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Men, we're not as superficial as they can be about it. But there's so much industry involved in selling miracles to make you look younger and beautiful. The plastic surgery thing, which they touch on in the movie, of manufactured, and that also goes into some of Nicholas Winding's choices of.
Knock my camera down.
He wanted to shoot the film on digital, not film. The cinematographer wanted film. He wanted digital, and he wanted the music to be digital because he wanted everything to be synthetic and false and phony, to replicate that whole phoniness of commercialism of beauty in Hollywood, and all these girls are growing up, and I read something else also about how today's youth, like, it used to be, if you talked about beauty, it was taboo. But today, with like influencers and Instagram and all that, like, it's like a virtue, like, to be young and beautiful. And you've got a bunch of people who have fucking no talent, who are millions of followers because they're hot.
There's a really good meme that I saw that you might appreciate that comes up, and it's a picture of a girl who has all the blonde hair and big boobs, and she draws this bullshit painting, and she gets like 10,000 likes or whatever. And then the other side of the picture is a girl who's frumpy looking, who does this beautiful piece of work, who gets 10 likes. I mean, that's exactly what this world is. I mean, you can have all the talent in the world. It just, a lot of it depends on how you look. That's why I hate influencers, by the way, because of that. People only follow them because of how they look. They don't follow them because they're talented. Marilyn Monroe probably would have never made it as far as she did if she was still Norma Jean.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hate to say that, but it's true. Like,
no, the guy said beauty isn't everything; it's the only thing.
Who said that? I'm probably looking too. So am I. We're all probably looking.
The fashion designer after they did the cattle call, where they had everybody step up.
Oh yeah, in that
and do their thing.
In that, I gotta take this. It's the parent thing. Be right back. The Parent Trap.
Get on that
out. See if I got any other notes. I know I got a lot here. So you talked about Dean, the photographer guy. He's presented as a nice guy, but the first time we see him, the way he's looking at her, looks like he's ready to kill her or eat her up like everybody else. Like, he's staring. I mean, it's almost a Kubrick, like, he's in the shadows. Looking from the dark. And the truth is, like, he's one of the things in the arts is, the first thing he asks after she sees Christina Hendricks is, what do they say about my photographs? Like, he's still in it for himself too.
Totally.
I mean, like most. I mean, really, that's kind of how the arts are. Like, we all work together, but at the same time, we're all getting something from each other.
Right.
And
for a way in, if you can.
Yeah, like, you make friends, but at the same time, I always say the hardest thing about filmmaking is you can't take everybody with you, which is kind of because I can't have 400 actors that I've worked with be in one movie together. Like, I can't do it. I can use the ones I need or find new ones, and new DPs and new things like that. So, but you make those connections. But they are like you hear all these filmmakers, people like, "Oh, you still in touch with this actor, that actor?" Like, no, I haven't seen him in 30 years. It's like, well, no, yeah, you do your job and it's on to the next. You do a play, it's on to the next. And but in that moment, you all are like supporting each other and building each other up, and the best is closest collaborators and workers and almost family. And sometimes you're living with them. But the movie is also about competition, and there's competition, especially in this world.
It is.
Because there's always another bright-eyed girl getting off the bus who's going to take your spot in that magazine cover from you.
That's the same with anything.
Yeah.
You can talk about sports. You could talk about, who's the best, who's the young lawyer that's coming up in our law firm. Like that's the same for everything.
Yeah.
But I did give that kid his props. The character that plays Dean, though. Once he found out how old she was, he was like, I think I left my stove on.
Yeah.
But then he tried to kiss her later too, so I was like, come on, you brought it back. Seth. So, honest opinion. There's no judgment at this round table. Honest judgment, bro.
Okay.
He's got to see it again.
What was your question?
No, I was just asking, what was your honest judgment of the movie? Like, we're at the bro table. No judgment.
Well, first I got to contact my lawyer. My people will be in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to shit on it, so I'm not going to say much. I just didn't like it.
No, I mean, you can shit on it. Like, that's, that's why we're in a discourse. That's why we do this stuff. But we don't have to all agree on something.
And you're probably not wrong about what you're going to say, because his movies
are divisive.
He makes choices that you're like, you're either going with it or you're like, this is fucking shit.
Well, I think it's a well-made movie. It's well shot. It's beautiful looking. The score's really good. The acting's good. So, like, on a technical level, it's good. Typically, I don't mind slow burn movies, but for some reason with this one, I just couldn't get into anything that was going on. I was just waiting for something to actually happen. And certain story elements I didn't like. I felt like the whole thing with Keanu Reeves' character just went nowhere. It didn't really need to be in the movie. I didn't quite like. I kind of got the gist of the ending, but I didn't quite understand why. And I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Like, by the time stuff actually started happening, I guess I did want to know a little bit more, and I don't know. It just wasn't for me. That's all I'll say. It is on a technical level. It is well made. Again, beautifully shot, well directed. The cast is actually good, all of them, and the score really stood out to me. But it's just I just couldn't. I just couldn't get into it, and when something did happen, it wasn't interesting enough for me. Like, it was starting to get there. Like, I liked, like the scene where, after she was out on the diving board, she first goes in, and and then all of a sudden there's like the chase thing happening. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of fell apart for me. So
I like Refn had said something about that diving board scene and how it shows how invincible she thinks she is in that moment. Like, she's like, because it's dangerous, and she's just kind of bouncing there, and like, she's fucking awesome, and like nothing can touch her. And, of course, they touch her and they kill her. Here's one thing I had a note of. I saw a lot of parallels of fairy tales going on in the movie. Snow White, she's kind of like Snow White, young, beautiful, looking in the mirror, who's the fairest of them all, kind of deal going on. And the thing, like that opening scene, is violence, beauty, and death, right? She's laying there dead, blood, like that photo he's taking of her, where she's laying there dead on the couch, the blood, a pool of blood. The mix of beauty and death kind of plays in the Snow White. You know, when Snow White dies, she's still the most beautiful in the land. You know,
That's an interesting take. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I saw Alice in Wonderland, going with the color of the pills, the blue and the red. Take the blue pill, take the red pill. You know, she becomes famous or she becomes nobody. That pill she takes her, the blues, she stays who she is. The red pill, she becomes, how far is she going through Wonderland and how far is she willing to go down the rabbit hole. And the other one is Cinderella hit me because at one point I saw Jenna Malone as the evil stepmother to Cinderella, and the two models as the evil stepsisters who were jealous of Cinderella. And when they first meet, when they got all three of them around her, I don't know if it was conscious, but the way Elle Fanning's hair is, she's got a braid right here across her head, like a band, and the long locks. Looks very Renaissance, very princess, very Cinderella in some way.
It's interesting.
I'm back, by the way.
He's back.
Sorry about that. My kids didn't want to get out of the car.
I'm just going through my notes. If you guys,
that's all good. After you're done with the notes, no, I've got all those scores up. We can go over all of our scores because that's fun for me.
Let's see. Talks amongst yourselves.
See, I mean, and then it just kind of progresses forward to, we know she's dead, and then we realize it's not really stated, but they're literally bathing in her blood after she dies.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder, and this was something, Seth, you may not have understood, but what I gathered from it, it is kind of witchy, witchy stuff kind of going on, but they literally are drinking and bathing in her essence to get her beauty.
To get what she has.
They want what she had.
They chewed her up and spit her out like the industry does.
Literally, yeah.
Literally. And also, Gigi can't take it. She kills herself out of the... But
yeah, she was guilt. She had the only one that felt guilty.
Sarah completely embraces it to the point where you're like, I love that scene where the guy fires the other girl. You're fired. He puts Gigi...
what?
Sarah in.
That's not fair.
Because Sarah completely has no... Even when she sees her friend kill herself, she just like picks the eyeball up, eats it, and goes and does her job. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's survival of the fittest. And the other one other note I had, real quick, you talked about her looking into the pool, the reflection of the water of the pool. She dies in a pool.
Yes, that's what got her probably nauseous. Yeah.
Yeah, and the girl sees the pool, but like the whole of her whole metamorphosis involved looking into a pool of water, basically metaphorically, the triangle, the neon demon, and then she ends up dying in a pool.
Yeah.
And laying in a pool of blood, like we first see her in the opening shot in the photo shoot. See if I have any other. Here is that.
I don't know if that helped your understanding of the film at all, Seth, but
do you care more?
You already got that, but
Seth, do you now like it more? Do you need to change your score?
No, I don't think he does. It's fine.
No,
we had a come to Jesus moment when you were outside with your kids. I told him he could be honest with us at the bro table. That's what this is about.
Well, I mean, like, we've talked about it before. Not everybody likes the same thing. Like, Nate wasn't a big fan of the Void. We all liked the Void. I didn't like Mandy all that much. The funny thing about that is I'm still willing to give it another shot. I'm always willing to give things more than one chance. So.
Oh yeah.
The scene where Keanu Reeves puts the knife in her mouth.
Oh yeah.
When she's sleeping, the nightmare. Kind of goes back to what I said about the virginity and how she's protecting her innocence because she's afraid of penetration, and that's what that is. So that's her fear of being penetrated, which she's trying to avoid because it makes her less of a commodity, And that's another thing I thought about was the gold paint. He literally paints her in gold because she is gold. Like she's going to make a lot of money. Like she is a golden goose. And he makes her a golden goose. And, when he sees her, she's completely enveloped in white, like purity. In a movie that's full of color, when he looks at her, she's in a white dress against a white background, pale skin, pale hair. And then he paints her in gold because that's what she is. She has money. And the way he looks at her, it's that dead-eyed, just kind of studying, and you hear about that industry, and apparently that guy, the actor, I don't know, I can't remember his name. I know he was on Dexter.
Joey Quinn. That's not his real name. That's his
Quinn.
name, Dexter.
Yeah,
he
apparently was like big into the fashion. He's not a model, or maybe he was a model, but he was very familiar with the modeling world and the photography world, and knew how those guys are.
He sure is a pretty man, so.
You're fired. Let's see.
Oh, shit. Okay. Do you have any more notes, Nate?
Like I said, I had a ton.
Yeah. I was hoping you guys were just sitting here in silence waiting for me. That'd have been weird.
Oh, well, he dedicated the movie to his wife, Liv, and he had something really nice to say about it. Like he said, she was the idea behind the film. 2 years ago, I woke up depressed one morning. I wasn't born beautiful, but my wife was. And I thought, I wonder what it'd be like to have been born beautiful. And of course, there's a 16-year-old girl in every man. This is a way to do my version of her. It made sense going from Drive, which was the height of masculinity, and my own fetishization of a hero, and even Only God Forgives, where Ryan's character is my own male obsession, deconstructing itself and emasculating itself, trying to crawl back into the womb of the mother. And now I am reborn as a 16-year-old girl. In the end, beauty was what was making a film about. And the only person I knew around me who was beautiful was my wife.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a 16-year-old girl in every man.
That's what he said.
That's strange.
I mean, it's kind of weird to think that. Basically, I think what he's meaning is like every older man is a sensitive dove.
At least he didn't say there's a man in every 16-year-old girl.
No,
that would have been bad.
The last one I have is my daughter actually told me about this because I was talking about beauty and violence and how beauty is so. I mean, really, beauty and violence is so tied into each other, especially in this genre. Like, what is this genre about? It's about death, but it's always usually a beautiful girl who's innocent, usually the virgin, the Laurie Strode, the pure girl is the one that we're all chasing and the bad guys chasing to penetrate. So all that plays into it. But she told me about, I think I'd heard about it before, but have you ever heard of Evelyn McHale? It was a bookkeeper. It was a bookkeeper in the 1940s who jumped off the 86th floor of the Empire State Building, and she landed on a car. And there was a photography student who was there, and he took a photo of her body laying on the car, and it's been dubbed the most beautiful suicide of all time. So even this horrific suicide, violent thing, this beautiful young woman.
Is this around the Great Depression?
Yeah, it's like the 1940s. I don't remember.
1947.
Later, okay.
Probably, yeah, 1947. So post World War II. But I've seen the pictures online. And she, you know, and it kind of makes you think about, again, that opening shot of her laying there dead, which kind of echoes what's going to happen to her. The only other thing I had coming from this movie when I watched it, especially at the end where they're chasing her to kill her. Do you all know of the story of Shonda Scherer?
Shonda Scherer.
Shonda Scherer. I know a lot about her because it happened here in the 90s. She was a 12-year-old girl who was murdered and tortured by other like 14, 15, 16-year-old girls. There was a girl who was dating this other girl, and they broke up, and she started dating the 12-year-old girl who lived in Jeffersonville, Indiana, across from Louisville. And the girl hated her because she was dating her girlfriend, and they didn't know her, but they tricked her into coming out with them, and then they stabbed her to death. Actually, they stabbed her a bunch of times. She didn't die. They threw her in the trunk. They beat her, thinking she was dead. She was banging on the trunk. They were driving around, going to McDonald's, all this stuff. They ended up finally taking her somewhere, pouring gasoline on her and burning her, and killed her.
Mean.
Yeah, and they were fine with it. They were laughing about it. They went out, hanging out, driving around. They actually like started calling people up, telling them what they had done. Yeah, I murdered this girl. Ha ha ha. You know, there's so created a lot of paranoia in my mom because my sister was about the same age at the time.
Yeah,
I can imagine. Jeez.
And it happened like again right across the bridge. So pretty horrible thing. This girl was just innocent. She was just dating some girls. She's 12-year-old. These girls were like 15, 16, 17 years old.
Was there something to do with possible witchcraft? Not real witchcraft, but like these older girls thought they were witches or some shit. Is that a thing? Because I heard something.
There could have been. Well, the other thing in Kentucky is the vampire guys, the cult.
Yeah, I
Murray,
remember that.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't know. There's, I watch so many damn true crime documentaries. I probably have heard that one. It's just I know there was one where this younger girl was killed, who wasn't even from the area, and she was newer, and she ended up getting killed because she was dating the wrong guy by a group of girls who thought they were witches or some shit. It may not be the same thing, but I'm a true crime
this
junkie.
Whole thing of murdering a younger, beautiful girl who's got what you want kind of echoed it to me. Like when they're chasing her, like there's just like this desire. When you see something beautiful, there's a lot of like saying that you see something beautiful, you want to destroy it.
Yeah.
And I think that plays into this
Fight
film
Club
scene.
mentality.
Yeah.
Found something beautiful, I wanted to destroy it.
Which plays into the horror genre. I mean, again, this genre is so full of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, for sure. It sounds like this. Yeah, I thought that too. Actually, the Slender Man murder. That does sound familiar.
Shonda would have been like around 1991, 92.
Oh yeah, the Slender Man one was like 2016 or 13 or somewhere around there. Yeah, that's a similar idea. I mean, stuff like that probably happens more often than we know.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more notes, Nate? A lot of what you said, I got to hear, but not the.
That's all I got. The only other thing I think I sent you the picture. I don't know if you got it, about the wallpaper silhouette shot.
Yes. I think I got that one.
It's where she's listening through the wall of the other girl. I guess the 12-year-old girl getting killed or beat up by Keanu Reeves, I think.
Yeah.
Let me see if it's because I didn't think you sent those early in the morning, didn't you?
Yeah, it's probably one of the last ones he sent. It's just kind of a silhouette where her hands are against the wall. And
she's like,
I didn't even see this one. Yeah. Yep, I can put it up.
Okay. I was just going to tell you how they shot that. It's actually a piece of wallpaper with light shooting through it. so she's not like standing in front of it. She's on the other side of it.
She's on the other side, so there's a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool shot. Give me one second.
It's
I'll
really
put it up.
cool imagery.
Yeah, it's gonna not be a
That was the
right.
girl Keanu tried to bait Dean in. It's like, oh yeah, I got plenty of other people in this hotel. I got a girl from I don't know what.
Keanu Reeves was gross in that movie, I swear.
I thought that was. You talking about Keanu?
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting role for him to take, just because of what he's been doing so much recently. Like, he's John Wick now. Like this was. Yeah,
this is that image.
Picture.
I didn't get the chance to resize it, but yeah. So she's actually behind the wall, behind that.
It's a piece of wallpaper that's hanging. That's hung. It's not on the wall.
Well, yeah.
And then they're shining light through it.
That's cool.
To cast her silhouette.
So what I thought was interesting that he took that role. Did he just want to work with Refn, or like he already has his meal ticket punched?
Yeah.
At this point, but such a completely opposite role that he has ever played. Being a
I will say one thing about it though. Like he was really good at being a prick.
Yeah.
Like he would like you don't see him in a role acting like that ever. Like I mean, Keanu Reeves has done a lot of stuff, and he's a good actor for the most part. He's better than he used to be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Bram Stoker Dracula. But like this
music.
No way. I do love that movie, and I love Keanu, but let's admit it.
He's the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, here's a better look at that image. I emphasized it. But yeah, I do like that actually. That silhouette looks really cool.
There's that little nightmare scene where the hands are coming through her wall in their hotel like that.
Keanu was a great racist redneck asshole in The Gift. I've never seen that.
You've never seen The Gift?
I've never
seen it. Those are Sam Raimi movies.
Which one? There's like 2 to 3 different movies called The Gift. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Katie Holmes.
It's not the one that has Jason Bateman out.
Yeah, that's the Katie Holmes one.
Okay. Chits. Okay. Real fast. Next week we will be doing a movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is actually a terrifying film. I think it is anyway.
So under fucking rated.
What's that, Jared? What do you say?
So under fucking rated.
Yeah, it's really good. It really got to me when I watched it. If you've never seen it, turn all the lights off, turn your phone off, and slide it under the couch, and then watch this movie, and let it all sink in.
And watch Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch try to figure some shit out.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks from then, we are talking about The Howling. The week between, we are taking the week off for Father's Day. But real fast, I want to throw up we just did the scores. We normally don't do this. Seth and I do this on our horror movie massacre show, which we will be doing 2 shows on Wednesday, and they're ranking shows. Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street shows how far we've come. So I wanted to share the community score from everybody that rated this movie on the Horror Syndicate. This is the followers, 73%. Which I was surprised that it was this high. I thought people would shit on this like hard. But, Jared, you gave us your score of 81, which actually stands pretty close to your original 8.2 score from 2016. I almost said 1996. Jesus. And Nate, you gave this one a 78%. Look at this good-looking guy. Losing some weight. Sitting tall, looking good. How about that? 78%. I gave this movie a 7%. No, I'm joking. I saw that picture when I was going through my phone, and I was like, what am I doing with my face there? No, actually, I gave it a 63%, which I like this picture, too. Notice I got my finger out. That's a creamer.
Pinky's
fucking
up.
Disgusting, by the way.
Wearing the Beyond shirt.
Hell yeah, you know it. 63%. I don't think this movie's bad. It just isn't for me, if that makes any sense. It's filmed very well. It looks great, and it's not for me. And then Seth has the same exact score, 63%. And yes, I use your current profile picture because it seemed to fit, Seth. So
That's actually
overall,
perfect.
the horse, the four of us, an average of 71%, which is actually lower than what the community gave it. So not too bad, I don't think. Oh man, 7%. Do you guys think I would give a movie a 7%? Probably.
I don't know, Mandy.
No, I didn't think it was that bad. I want, and I'm not even lying. I want to revisit Mandy again. It's been 4 years since we talked about it. We should talk about it again, see if I like it any better. If I don't like it any better, then we can just scrap the idea. How about that? I'm like, nope. I don't know. I want to watch it again because it's been since 2020 since I watched it when we did the show, and so I've only watched it twice. And going off of the Keith Saunders theory, as I'm going to call it from now on, sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 times to really enjoy a film or get a film. So you never know. Mandy is great. So
Agreed.
great. Get out of here. She wants to work for the Horror Syndicate. Denied. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I like that we are split on this one, like right down the middle. I think that's really cool. I like that generally we all praise for the most part every movie we see, and we got to a movie where it's not like that. I hope we do have, and then the best part is we didn't argue like assholes about it. Like,
Well, no.
This movie sucked because of I gave it a 7%.
I wish fucking people would know how to be respectable and disagree at the same time, and that's really what it is. Like, people say you don't like criticism. Like, no, I don't like asshole criticism. I like people who have a reason to not like it that's beyond their own personal feelings, and be able to discuss it without name calling and hitting the laugh emojis and all that childish bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally, but I don't have like a real filmmaking reason of not liking this. My reason is I didn't get into it. It's not for me.
Didn't vibe with it. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of movies where I could say, man, this movie's sound in every department, but I just didn't care. I didn't like it. I didn't connect with it.
And that's kind of how I feel about this. I did see a cool movie on Friday, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's a weird movie. It's wild. And I wanted to ask, since we're here, Nathan, the hot dog.
Best picture.
The hot dog fingers, are they ejaculating mustard out of their fingers? Is that what that is? Is that what that is?
I don't think they're ejaculating out of them.
Like, they're like sucking on it sensually, the fingers, like the hot dog fingers, and then all of a sudden they got mustard all over the face. It's like, what the fuck is that?
I think the Daniels just do whatever it comes in their mind. Like, they made a movie about a farting corpse, like.
I still haven't seen it, but I've heard that's a fun
I love that movie. Swiss Army Man.
Yeah. Swiss Army Man's so good. But yeah, Everything All at Once. What's really funny, you talked about the butt plug guys. Like, I got to meet those guys because
that was weird.
They made a movie up here at Waverly Hills, and it's a martial arts movie, and they were on it.
Oh, they were in it.
They were in it, and I got to kind of meet them. They were actually the little guy, the smaller guy of the two. He was the death dealer in Shang-Chi.
Oh wow, that's cool.
He was badass.
Well, there's some cool ass martial arts in this movie, and I didn't realize that. Forgive me, I don't remember his name, but Short Round, Data, like how badass of a martial artist he is. Like, dude, you kidding me? Where have you been for the last 30 years? Because you could have been in some movies for real.
Well, he said after he got to like his teens, there were no parts for Asian actors like that, so he quit and he started working behind the scenes. So he's been working behind the scenes for 30 years.
He was a stunt coordinator, wasn't he? Something like that.
And then he saw Crazy Rich Asians and how well that did. It was all Asian actors, and so he got in touch with an agent, and like within a week or two, he got this part.
Good. I hope to see him more. I really liked him.
He's going to be in what is it? There's he's casting something coming up that's kind of big.
Yeah, I saw that.
What is it? What is it?
Oh, I said it should have been Indiana Jones 5.
Indiana Jones, yeah.
I know that's a crime that he's not in that.
I can't remember what he's doing. We gotta look it up.
I'll look it up real fast. I do think I was glad to see him. I knew he was in it, but it was really nice seeing him, and I like the whole idea. Like there are ways to go to different dimensions or whatever it was
Yeah.
to do something to hurt themselves. Like
Something
you could break
crazy.
your arm or whatever it was, and then these other guys are sitting on butt plugs. It's like, and the
Yeah.
funny thing is, whenever the first time it shows Jamie Lee Curtis, I saw those behind her, and then she grabbed one. I was like, that looks like a fucking butt plug, and that comes into play later on.
She's an auditor.
Yeah, and Jamie Lee Curtis was out of control in that movie. It was a good movie, weird movie. It's even if you wouldn't like it, it's definitely an experience. You know, he's in a show. He's in one of the Marvel shows, Loki.
Yeah, he's gonna be on Loki.
Yeah, he's gonna be on Loki. Anyway, so yeah, this is what happens when we move to a night where we all have more time than we normally do. We just talk about bullshit. But I think we're gonna close out the show for the night. Remember, The Fablemans. Check that out. Also, that was really good. Not so much The House of Gucci. Those are the last three movies I watched. But remember, next week we're talking about The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I want to gauge everybody's excitement level on this one. I'm excited because I like this movie.
I'm excited to look back at it because I remember it was good. I've been a big fan of Brian Cox for a long time.
I love Brian Cox.
Hopefully, his success on Succession draws some people to this one. So.
It's a good movie overall. Seth, have you seen this one?
Nope.
Oh,
God.
He's gonna
Here
hate
we
it.
go.
No, he'll like this one.
I think you'll like this one.
Yeah, I think you'll like it too.
And we have this running theme of dead, naked, hot girls on.
I know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard for us to find a scene without a nipple in it, Nate, or some bush. But yeah, I like this movie, and I'm not even joking, Seth. Put the phone away, turn the lights off, and just envelop yourself into the movie because I really did like this. Jared, you've seen it, right? Oh, he's gone. Oh, there he is.
We'll have to do Dead Girl when we come back after that one.
What's that? I've never seen that one.
It's a zombie movie about these two teenage boys who find this dead girl, naked girl, and they
From
keep
2008.
her. Yeah, it was good. It was real different.
Who is that? That girl is pretty.
I can't see anything. What are you guys talking about?
Jenny Spain. Well, sorry, Jerry.
You're fine.
And
I
then,
got 6 teenagers out in the other room.
at some point in the future, we'll do another year of the 80s like we did last time because 84 was a fun time. 87 or 88, whichever one is better.
Everyone, beware of blue neon triangles.
Yes.
Avoid them.
Stay away from them.
Stay away. It's a neon demon.
Yes, it's a neon demon that'll turn you red.
I think Target sells them now.
Right? And see, the funny thing is it's like when Abby Lee's character was wearing that necklace.
Oh, was she?
Yeah,
At the
the
end?
triangle necklace.
Was she at the very end?
At the very beginning. Like it's just kind of like yeah.
Well, stick around the Horror Syndicate. We've got a lot more stuff coming, and if you leave the Horror Syndicate page because we are, supporting the LGBTQ community, cool. Leave. We're still gonna have fun without you guys, girls, whoever.
Yeah.
Anything else before we go? Final thoughts, Seth, on the Neon Demon? Caught you off guard.
Hard pass.
Okay.
That's okay.
Nate, what about you? Do you have final thoughts real fast?
Final thoughts. Again, Ray, watch Drive.
I'm going to watch it tonight. I promise you.
Okay.
I'm going to get it tonight and go watch it after I'm done here. Yes.
And it's, and then watch Bronson. And then watch.
Oh, yeah, that's on Hulu. Yeah.
Watch Pusher 2, if you can.
Pusher 2?
Yeah.
Jesus. Nate,
it's a trilogy.
Yeah, it's a trilogy, but you can watch that one and be okay.
Oh, there's 3 of them?
Yeah.
Pusher 2, Pusher 3. Do I need to watch Pusher to watch Pusher 2?
You don't have to, but you might as well. Pusher. It's about salt and pepper.
They're crime movies, but they're very good.
It's about salt. No, that's the other song.
No,
right?
My final thoughts. Neon Demon. It's a really good representation of the the connection of death and beauty, and the importance of beauty and youth, and how it's what so many people hold as the most important thing in the world. Looking good, people will have their selves chopped up to look younger and beautiful and look like this person, look like that person. People will follow influencers and dump money into them because of how pretty they are. We talked about how there's not a lot of violence in the film. The violence really is in that the nature of how we treat young women and the importance that we put on those, on the looks and on beauty and on purity and on all those things. And it's, we don't have to deal with that shit. Women have to deal with that shit all the time. Having predators around all the time.
Yeah.
Not know who they can trust.
A friend of mine wants me to drive fly out to San Francisco to meet her to drive back here, just because she's worried about driving alone. So I don't understand it, but I guess I can see where she's coming from.
It's a very real thing, and this movie captures even the person who, and Jenna Malone tells her, don't trust anybody, and then Jenna Malone's the one who fucking kills her and eats her and bathes in her blood. Because she wanted her too. Even though she's being nice, she still wanted something out of this girl.
Yes. I think Ray's gone, so I might finish up my final thoughts. Nate, sorry, you hit the nail on the head. It gave us everything that you basically said, and it shows us how deep the rabbit hole can go and how cutthroat this, business can be that you don't even see. Like, yeah, beauty is only skin deep, but you also have to think of all the competition that's involved for people who have to, like we were talking about earlier, audition for these events or just audition to wear a fucking swimsuit. Like, come on. Like, yeah. We have no idea.
And how strangers will hate strangers based on that. Like, this person's prettier than me, or they get more attention than I do, and
right.
It's a lot of ugliness around it.
This whole world's ugly, really.
Agreed. In many ways.
Yeah, my camera keeps.
We got to remember that.
But luckily, all four of us are beautiful. So
yeah.
Damn straight.
That's why 3 people are watching us.
Just wait till we talk about 1988.
I gotta go. I got 6 teenagers in my other room.
6?
I'm gonna go eat some food.
Nice.
6.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I my horror room's in disarray. That's why I keep going. I just found this thing that I bought like 3 years ago. This ring, because I noticed how dark it is.
That influencer ring.
Yeah, I need to be an influencer.
Right.
Thanks, Jared. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back next week with another show. Hopefully, Hopefully, I'll have this room cleaned up by then. It's all a fucking mess, and I can stop fidgeting with stuff. Because I have this whole thing over here full of shit. I keep fidgeting with it. But I'll watch Drive, and I'll watch one of them tonight. It's for sure. I gotta fold clothes. Anyway, anybody who's watching, Rachel, if you're still, or is it Rachel? If you're still watching, let me know when you're ready to start writing. For Seth, anything else you want to say? Let's not forget, what are we doing Wednesday?
I forget. What are we doing Wednesday?
Come on, man.
Talking about Neon Demon 2.
How many pots have you smoked today?
A lot of pots.
Okay.
No, we're doing 2 ranking shows. One is a Friday the 13th franchise ranking. The other is a Nightmare on Elm Street franchise ranking based on our scores, which reminds me I have to redo my Friday the 13th scores because there's no fucking way Freddy vs. Jason is better than Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, Nathan, this motherfucker has Freddy vs. Jason as the number 3 Friday the 13th movie.
It was based on score. I mean, it's
based on Freddy.
Well,
like
it's my fault, but
some technical aspects, I think it's a better made movie.
That's barely better made than a lot of the Friday movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
maybe.
Anyway,
yeah. So we'll be doing that on Wednesday. It'll be a lot of 2 shows. Because we want to separate them instead of lumping into one show. So 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll start with. Are we starting with Friday the 13th? And then so Friday the 13th, and then the show after that we'll be doing. Will probably be around 9 Central Time, and we'll do the other one, Nightmare on Elm Street. And then next week or the week after, we'll follow up with. Are we starting Texas Chainsaw? Because we're going through all the big name series. Horror Movie Massacre.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Anyway, check out Neon Demon. It was on Prime last time I checked. If you are like me and Seth, don't check it out. But it's worth watching at least once, I think. Don't you think, Seth?
Oh, for sure. Because, I mean, you never know. There is such a divide that you may be on that actually really likes it and appreciates it.
Yeah.
And it's not like a bad movie on a technical level, so it's worth checking out.
Yeah. I don't like
to decide for yourself whether you like it or not, which side of the camp you're on.
Yeah. I don't like telling anyone not to watch something.
Cinematography is great. The score is great. The acting is great. Keanu Reeves is a fucking creep. So check it out. And Jenna Malone, who I'm not gonna lie, had a little bit of crush on back at the Donnie Darko days. She shows off with the goods. So
I've always liked her a lot.
Oh, me too.
I think she's just totally underrated actress. I mean, she's kind of an indie darling.
Well, she was cast to be in Batman versus Superman. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, is she going to be
Carrie?
Batgirl?"
That'd been cool.
Carrie,
or even Carrie Kelly. I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
And it didn't come to fruition, of course, because anything that DC says they're going to do never comes to fruition.
Yeah. When are we going to get Carrie Kelly, man? Live action Carrie Kelly.
It would have been great. Well, so I'm a big fan. I'm a big proponent of all the Robins. I love Robin, but I mean, because I'd like to see Dick.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah. I'd like to see Dick Grayson. Jason Todd's my favorite. Tim Drake and Damian and Stephanie Brown, and I do want to see Carrie Kelly at some point. But Carrie Kelly would have been perfect in the BVS world because they kind of leaned into the Frank Miller aspect of the comic, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I always loved Carrie Kelly because she just went upon it herself to dress up as Robin and go out and fight crime, and then she helps Batman. And I'm talking about the comic, of course. She goes out and helps Batman, and he just starts calling her Robin. I always loved that about the Dark Knight Returns. Not my favorite book, but there's some really great shit in there, and Carrie Kelly is one of the greatest. So that's just my opinion on comics. I want to talk more comics. Oh, fuck you. F you. Should be coming back. Anyway, you guys have a great night. We will talk to you soon. Next week, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Love that movie. Check it out. I believe it's streaming on Netflix.